Program every year.
How do I,
Trying to figure out.
Michelle, can you hear
Hello.
me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Do you have a presentation you want to put up? Or
Yeah,
you
I
just want-
do. Am I able
Okay.
to share screen?
Bob, will you help me?
Yeah, you have to make her co-host. Hopefully that's.
I'm gonna try right now.
So go for the little dots up there. Say make co-host. I just didn't say make. Oh, it did, okay. So there she's up. Now,
Okay, and we're recording.
now you want a spotlight. Well,
Right here.
no, actually, you're good. So
Okay, Michelle,
Would you let me know what you're seeing on the screen?
I'm seeing SOFAR Collaborative, South Fork of the American River,
we don't see it full screen.
but we don't see it full screen.
Hey, Elizabeth,
Okay, it's not full
can you
screen.
bring the kiwi
Switch
forms
it.
thing down here for me? I don't know if we have any back in the office.
Swap. Not now.
Good.
Oh, great. Perfect. Well, we're off without a hitch. Thanks for hosting me. Michelle Wolfgang, El Dorado National Forest Partnership Program Manager, also coordinator for SOFAR Collaborative, and also coordinator for the Healthy El Dorado Landscape Partnership. But today I'm here to talk about the community practice and partnerships and what makes the SOFAR Collaborative unique and what sort of goals we have, what our timeline looks like for the next 2 years. We are the South Fork of the American River. That's where the SOFAR comes from, Cohesive Strategy Collaborative, and I'll talk a little bit more about the cohesive strategy in just a moment. So I'm going to go into a little bit of brief history and our geography. Up there on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see an outline in blue, and that's the South Fork of the American River watershed, and that's the area that we're covering for this collaborative. Although we certainly do and have recently started to expand and invite others outside of this area to join when they're available and interested in the work going on in the South Fork of the American River watershed. I just want to talk a little bit about the SOFAR Collaborative and where it was initiated. Many people might not remember this far back, but 2014 Farm Bill, Section 8204, specified direction to address the landscape scale insect and disease risk on national forest system lands. But it was a collaboration between the then California Governor Brown and Forest Service Chief Tidwell to designate the South Fork American River watershed as a landscape scale insect and disease priority treatment area under Section 602 of the Healthy Forest Restoration Act. We call it HEFRA for short. Then nearly a decade later, SOFAR Collaborative is still working to address barriers to landscape scale resilience, such as lack of biomass utilization infrastructure, local workforce needs, and exploring best practices and lessons learned for wildfire preparedness and recovery. And between 2014 to 2017, it took a couple of years to stand up the collaborative, but we did initiate one of the first meetings in 2017. Okay, and now I'm going to chat a little bit about our mission and vision. So we have a mission and vision that was created back in 2017. However, in 2022, several pivotal events reshaped the SOFAR Collaborative and what we're calling the SOFAR revisioning. This is our strategic action planning process that we started in 2024. For one, there was the aftermath of the 2021 Caldor fire. El Dorado County had then introduced its new Office of Wildfire Preparedness and Resilience, or OWAPR, and began leading a new consolidated version of the community wildfire protection plans that existed prior to that. And then meanwhile, SOFAR facilitators conducted an assessment to understand the community and stakeholder needs in the aftermath of the fire. And the effort was then to enhance the collaborative's reach to strengthen the community trust at the time after the fire, and to identify necessary adjustments to best serve members while addressing the cohesive strategy goals. And we'll talk more about the cohesive strategy and the cohesive strategy goals in the next slide. But I really wanted to get at what the assessment outcomes were triggering, which is revisions to our mission and vision statements, along with a full strategic action planning process. And here I'm sharing the result of that. We ended up expanding, our scope, like I said earlier, to more incorporate the Cosumnes River headwaters. Wanted to make sure that those folks had an area to come and hear from others in the landscape, and felt more of that invite to join on the SOFAR meetings. So in 2024, we devised this mission statement, which encompasses that SOFAR is a voluntary advisory group of stakeholders who collaboratively align on action-oriented goals focused on the promotion of fire-adapted communities, fire-resilient landscapes, safe, effective wildfire response, community and workforce development opportunities throughout the South Fork American River watershed and Cosumnes River headwaters. And then our vision statement now, and we'll be voting on, incorporating these and adopting these officially at our September meeting. So up at the right-hand corner, I have, ask me how you can join the September 2nd meeting and weigh in on the revisions and the adoption for these too. But our vision statement at this time is that through balanced collaboration, SOFAR envisions alignment of multi-stakeholder values and priorities through the communication of best available science and resources to restore fire-adapted ecosystems, safeguard critical infrastructure, protect natural resources, and advance community well-being. And this all starts to really come full circle in the next couple of slides. I'm talking a little bit more about the goals and what each individual committee within SOFAR has as far as goals go for the next 2 years. So many of you who have been part of SOFAR for a long time may recall the first 3 goals that are listed here. And then in 2024, we did introduce a 4th goal, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But SOFAR strategically coordinates actions and fosters a participatory approach to drive our 4 overarching goals. The first 3 are directly from the National Cohesive Wildland Fire Management Strategy. Those are fire-adapted communities, fire-resilient landscapes, and safe, effective wildfire response. And what I wanted to really have folks grasp here is, what we mean by these things. So for fire-adapted communities, we're really talking about increasing the collective knowledge so that critical infrastructure and at-risk communities can coexist with wildland fire, thereby minimizing the loss of life and property. And for fire-resilient landscapes, that is more of an overarching goal for all lands approach. We are working with our partners to on an all lands approach to effectively manage and restore landscapes to withstand fire-related disturbances and sustain ecological well-being. For safe and effective wildfire response, this is really about ensuring that all community members are aware of and can participate in the creation of and implementation of safe, effective, and efficient wildfire preparedness, response, and recovery decisions. And finally, the 4th goal speaks to advancing opportunities for the community to sustain a year-round workforce. And I can talk a little bit more about how that came to be, but we're very excited to introduce, some of the first products from this subcommittee that's working on community and workforce development here in just another month or 2. But you can see how, there's a lot of parallels with what the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council does, the individual Fire Safe Council, and the county OWOPR. And there's a lot of opportunity there for alignment and for more dissemination of this information in the future. So we have a couple of SOFAR committees. We also interchangeably call them work groups. And the 2 ones that you'll probably recognize most often are the collaborative and the landscape vision. And one thing to note about SOFAR is that the collaborative body is the decision maker. It's not the steering committee for the collaborative itself. So by attending the collaborative meetings, folks have the opportunity to really weigh on ground level changes happening within the collaborative and what we're supporting. So for the collaborative, goals. Each work group or subcommittee has its own goals for 2026 and 2027. Many of these are carryovers from 2024 and 2025 with little tweaks based on what we've gotten done in that time. And so I'll just run through these, but our newest work group is the Community and Workforce Development Work Group. And our goal for 2026 and 27 is to complete production of a report on current workforce and community development challenges and successes, specifically focused on the forestry, fuels, and water management sectors in El Dorado County. We're also planning and hosting a community and workforce development workshop in November of 2026, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go into the next couple of slides. One of the more longstanding work groups or committees that we have is the Biomass Utilization and Infrastructure Work Group. And we have had many what we're calling irons in the fire for several years. There have been a lot of opportunities to increase the pace and scale of launching small-scale biomass utilization projects. This year, I know that they'll host Earth Foundries LLC, the Tiger Cat Carbonizer, which is essentially a biomass utilization heavy equipment that is used to turn decked logs into biochar, and they're going to set up a demonstration site in Smith Flat for that later on in this year. For Landscape Vision, we do have, this might be recognized by a few of you who are familiar with the RCD-led effort to take that Regional Fire and Forest Capacity Grant from SNC, from Sierra Nevada Conservancy, and develop a unified science-backed project prioritization and evaluation criteria and project portfolio and pipeline on resilience treatments that represent shared priorities. And that is probably going to come to SOFAR in 2027. So you'll see that on the timeline that I share later of our next year's meetings and so forth. And then finally, the collaborative, our goal for 2026 and 27 is to enhance cross-pollination, partner and community engagement with the local RCDs, FFCs, and county government offices, land managers, utility, and industry partners. There's really a whole lot of folks involved there. For a long period of time, we've had a lot of different charter signatories that represent a diverse stakeholder participation and engagement process that SOFAR has had since 2017. And we're just continuing that and to enhance that cross-pollination. I'll talk a little bit more about efforts to even further drive cross-pollination in the community in just another slide. So we have, like I said, we have our strategic goals for 2026 and 27, but I wanted to go into a little bit more detail because there's a lot of information there, and I want to make sure that it's open and available so that folks know what is going on with SOFAR. And first I'll touch back on the Community and Workforce Development Subcommittee. We are, like I said, producing what we believe is the first ever El Dorado County report on the current workforce and community development efforts across the forestry, fuels, and watershed management sectors. And we plan to host that Community and Workforce Development Workshop in November of 2026. And prior to November of 2026, that production of that digital report that we're discussing here right now will be available prior to our September 2nd meeting. We're just working on the final touches for that at this time. And the second work group that I talked about was the Biomass Utilization Work Group. And they are working to obtain grant funds and launch small-scale biomass utilization projects. And we anticipate the launch of one additional, what we're calling Iron in the Fire, by the end of 2027. We've had a pretty good run thus far. We've had, at least one launched every single year that we've been in having this work group, which I think has been, at least 5 years. And so just going a little bit more into the landscape vision and what that project entails and how those goals will be developed. We have the developing the unified science-backed project prioritization, which represents shared priorities across El Dorado County. The result will be a consensus-based project portfolio and multi-phase landscape scale project pipeline. I believe that project pipeline is going back to Sierra Nevada Conservancy sometime in 2027. So we'll be wrapping up kind of in mid 2027 for, SOFAR's involvement in that. And just so folks are aware, this would happen in the landscape vision meetings, which have not yet occurred this year. But trust me, there's plenty of time and a lot of work remaining to do there. So if you can, come and join a landscape vision meeting when those are available to come out to. We also have the collaborative working on enhancing cross-pollination and inter-collaboration between partners across El Dorado County. So one thing that's unique that we're doing this year is we've started to engage on an integration strategy between the Healthy El Dorado Landscape Partnership, the Tahoe Central Sierra Initiative, and Headwaters Connect, formerly the Upper American River Watershed Programmatic Planning Group. And we're working now to do a plan alignment and figure out what our gaps and coverage are, and just how to share information more among those groups so that we can effectively engage the public in what everyone has on the table and what everyone is anticipating in the future for projects going on this landscape. I really wanted to get to this slide because I think that we're really getting into the nitty-gritty now of our community best practices. These are what we view as what makes SOFAR unique and valuable in the landscape. So for one, we are open to the public, welcome for all. We aim to create a safe and welcoming venue for all of our community and stakeholders. Our grounding agreements include recognition that all voices have value, and we actively maintain an open discussion forum focused on delivering our goals. Like we meet quarterly now and try to do very intentional meetings so that we can, not take up too much time for everyone's busy schedules, but also so that we can make sure that, when folks do come, that they have their voices heard and, get the most out of coming to a meeting like that. We are professionally facilitated, and since our inception in 2017, we have been professionally facilitated by the Consensus Building Institute. They're relatively local. They're out of the Bay Area, and their headquarters is in Massachusetts. But our professionally facilitated platform removes bias such that all voices are heard and accounted for as we collaboratively deliver on our goals. Third, we see, we have a consensus-driven approach. We are very diligent about and have procedures and protocols, in our founding documents that have us really focused on finding common ground on issues that make a difference to us all. And what I wanted to emphasize here is that consensus means that agreements that everyone can accept and does not require enthusiastic support from all. It just means that we have reached a consensus around what we're willing to accept, and we drive consensus through dialogue and collaborative problem solving, typically within the collaborative and landscape vision committees, but this extends to all of our committees. We are integrated and better together, and like I mentioned, we recognize that there are other collaborative groups such as Headwaters Connect and the Healthy El Dorado Landscape Partnership, and those coexist in the same landscape, yet we have established our own essential unique niche. We are working to build cross-communication and coordination with other collaboratives in the landscape. It's like I said, we're stronger when we're unified, and we can deliver more of those effective stakeholder engagements and discussion points when we talk amongst one another and we know what's going on among each of the collaborative groups. So this is not an exhaustive list, but I wanted to put up for you the 2026-2027 action plan that we have. And then you'll note, up in the upper left-hand corner, there's a key to each work group. And so you'll see a bubble next to each of these areas of the action plan, and that'll denote which work group is involved in it or part of building that, workshop or part of building that report. And so I think I already mentioned, the digital production of the workforce development report will be towards the end of August of 2026. And then we'll have that collaborative meeting talking about strategic revisioning and officially adopting the new mission and vision statements and our fourth goal, the community and workforce development goal on September 2nd, which is a Wednesday. It's held in the afternoon, and that one will be virtual, and I have a little bit more details about that coming in the next slide. And then we have in November that collaborative workshop. So this will be, a development between the collaborative and the community and workforce development subcommittee, and both of those are working together to formulate a plan for what that workshop will look like in November. I think it's, November 18th. Like I said, there will also be that field demonstration of the Earth Foundries LLC Tiger Cat Carbonizer and Smith Flat. I believe that's sometime between November and December. We'll have, after the new year and the settling in that we typically do for the new year, the Community and Workforce Development Workshop Report outcomes section will come out. And that will just to know what happened from the workshop, what are our intentions for the next couple of years, what do we hope to accomplish, and it will sort of help to define measures for how we'll look at our accomplishments in another 2 years to see what we've been able to get done. So that's coming out in January, and then in February and April, anticipating that there will be landscape vision workshops to help incorporate the SOFAR participants and the project prioritization portfolio and pipeline for the RFFCP that's being led by the RCD. That project pipeline is due in June. And then we have, a couple of areas that we're still devising, what we'll do for next year. But by the end of next year, as you'll recall, we have that we're going to launch at least one additional iron in the fire via the biomass utilization work group.
Hey, Michelle,
Yep.
can I ask a question on that timeline?
Yep.
The
Is that Lester?
RCD,
Yeah.
yeah, the RCD.
Okay, I recognize your voice.
The RCD is going to be working on the RFFCP, but you don't show and I thought SOFAR was kind of one of the part of the steering for the RCD. Anyway, wouldn't there be stuff going on in advance before you showed the landscape vision meetings?
Yeah, so right now, as part of the oversight work group for the RFFCP project, SOFAR is involved via myself representing on that oversight group. I'm also representing help there, looking at what they've developed thus far between the Spatial Informatics Group and WSP. There hasn't been any official meeting to bring SOFAR's collaborative into the space yet that I'm aware of. We did have the RCD at the June 10th workshop focused on wildfire recovery and resilience. And that showcased the project experience builder that the RCD has worked with SIG and WSP to build out. But there hasn't been involvement yet from the collaborative. So that's where we haven't really started the landscape vision meetings really discussing, how that will look or the involvement of or participation of SOFAR participants yet.
Okay, and actually, if I could, just for the folks here, that associate fire safe councils have been involved in SOFAR since the beginning. They were present right at the very first meetings. I don't believe El Dorado County Fire Safe Council was a signator, but some of the individual fire safe councils were original signators to the collaborative.
Yes, that's correct. So we want to talk about, how you can get involved going forward. There's, like I said, a Wednesday, September 2nd. Our collaborative meetings are held on Wednesday afternoons, 1:30 to 3:30 typically. So it's just a 2-hour time frame. sometimes we'll maybe end early if we don't have that much, but since we're meeting quarterly and trying to do more intentional meetings, we have been filling that entire time. So if you're interested in learning more, you can always reach out to myself. There's a couple locations both on this slide and the next slide where you can get my contact information. Also, you're always welcome to reach out to anyone else who you think might have it and email me with questions or contact me anyway. I'm available by phone as well. And I'm happy to talk with anyone who wants to know more about the strategic planning for our mission, vision, and goals. And that will be a virtual workshop to attend, so, or not even a workshop, it's really just a meetings for us to get together and talk about those mission, vision, and goals and align on those. And then we'll also be kind of using that to scale and develop our 3-year action plan. So you saw part of it back there on the last slide, and that is not the fully fleshed out version. It's not an exhaustive list of all of the things that we're planning to do over the next 3 years. And then we have on Wednesday, November 18th, we'll have a longer workshop time. So that'll probably be from 1:30 to 4. And the location is still TBD, but that workshop will be in person and it'll be focused on community and workforce development. And the backdrop to that workshop is the community and workforce development report, specifically focused on, again, forestry, fuels and watershed management, career sectors in El Dorado County at large, but more focused on the South Fork of the American River watershed because that's where SOFAR really has its niche. We do have a new website, so if you recently tried to look for us and couldn't find us, we're migrating to a new website platform. It is now up and running. We changed it slightly from sofarcohesivestrategy.org to sofarcohesivestrategy.com, so it should be still easy to find. And while some of it is still under construction, you can find out more about what we do, our meetings, and notes from the June 10th workshop will go up, I think, sometime today. And then if you want to, you can always connect with us. I'm available, like I said, Sophie Curlo-Mendel of the Consensus Building Institute has been around in SOFAR longer than I have and became the full-time facilitator in 2022. And so she is available also for questions, or if you want to reach out to her to get on the periodic newsletters that we have or updates about field tours, meetings, workshops, you can always reach out to Sophie, and she is more than happy to show you the way. And that's all I have for you. I'm here on behalf of the SOFAR Steering Committee, and if you want to take down my information, feel free to contact me anytime. Happy to answer any questions you might have. And I'll take questions now if you have any. I'll try to answer those.
Michelle, what is Sophie's contact information?
Oh, yep. I'll go back to it. I can put it in the chat.
I can take a picture of it. I'll text it to you.
Yeah. There you go.
See it? Or you want me to text it to you?
Text. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So good.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Go ahead.
I do have one. This is actually my first time being present at, in person at this, the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council and their round bag lunch. At the end of the first meeting, there was a person who, for the good of the community, passed out some brochures. And the brochure was from Wagram Carbon Fireproof LLC. And it is about creating communities that are fireproof using a green border. And it's a nice, clean, glossy brochure. I took 5 or 6 of them to send to our fire district, thinking that it's actually going against the what you're advocating. And therefore, when it comes to the good of the community, it's great to look at. But it should be going to people like you and people like the fire department that have the background knowledge to either reject this or accept it. So, I don't want to cause any problems, but on the other hand, I don't want to advocate for something that I don't understand. I don't have the knowledge of that. Is this something we can send to you?
Just gonna mention to you that because the first meeting, county meeting is a public meeting,
Yes.
anybody can come. And
Oh,
that's-
I understand that.
That's the sale of here, it's unscheduled, unagenda, and,
So my fear though is that if this is a pretty brochure and I say, oh, you come talk to my fire safe council about it, suddenly the message I'm giving is, oh, the fire safe council approves this. So I just wanted, because it's such a different approach, I'm requesting that either the fire safe council take a look at, you as the board, take a look at this brochure, and can we send one to you since SOFAR is dealing with these same issues? Is this something you're in alignment with, or is this something you would not even?
So I guess, Michelle, the question is, would you like to see this brochure?
That's,
Sure. I'm happy to look at it. Is it something where anyone has contacted or been in contact with?
There's a website with the
Yeah,
problem.
I can take a picture of it and text it to you.
Are there any more back there?
I have no, but I took about, I don't know. It might be.
you're the one.
Yeah, it is kind of a concerning issue when people stand up and talk, especially, during these meetings, to decide if they are really part of something that we would promote or not. It is a complex thing, and we're getting more and more comments from people, and sometimes the chair, the vice chair, or, we'll check into those. But I don't think it's our place necessarily during public comment to say, nah, we're not gonna.
Oh, I understand that.
So, and I appreciate your question. I think it's very important. It's kind of buyer beware, right?
Can I just? My
Yes.
opinion would be, I hear what you're saying. I don't know that I would want this board to be in a position of saying, yea or nay, period, taking any position on it. They come and show it, if they got something good, we're gonna know it and whatnot, and to your point, I think that will, for the most part, is not gonna go very far, but I don't think that,
So I was gonna give it to our Pioneer Fire District. For them to, just to,
there's no reason why not.
right,
Ask them
and
what
then,
they think.
well, since I'm hearing that SOFAR actually is addressing a lot of these issues, maybe you would like to see what is being offered or yeah, what is being promoted.
And Shiloh, what I would say at our fire safe council, we've had people that have approached the council, when we are gatherings and said, I'm putting sprinklers on my roof, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. And part of it is the information that we've gleaned from other informational sources, especially like the fire departments and CAL FIRE. It's for us to let them know, from our perspective, at least Caminos, is to let them know what's out there and let them, if they need further these are the resources where to go. But we sometimes will put a spin on, fire departments, for instance, are saying that sprinklers on the roof, there may be some better uses of monies. And that's thanks to Elizabeth and all the trainings that have gone on with the home assessment pieces. So it's that we're always going to get, I don't want to say gimmicks, but different ideas of how to keep us safer from wildfire. And that's why we don't yay or nay anything. We say, here it is, go back, but also to take it back to our councils and really have some further discussion. Hey, what's good about this? What might be an area of issue that this might not meet our needs of what else are we, the concept is to have a barrier around a community. Well, our barrier that we tackle is, the clearings that go around, so, thank you, all the dispensable species.
First 100 feet.
Yeah, exactly, so, anyway.
And I would just say from kind of how I do things with recommendations for stuff like this is I tell folks if it's a vetted thing, it is rated by the state fire marshal. Yes. So that would be my first question to these guys. Have you been in contact with the state fire marshal? Has anybody looked at this and validated whatever it is you're selling, whether it's foam or plants or, this, that, or, housing them? It's big business. There are a lot of people with new ideas. To me, as a representative of this organization, I say state fire marshal, they are gonna assess the data, they have tests, they know how to do this. Once they put it through their system, then I feel safe recommending it, but.
Like Greg said, I don't mind seeing this kind of stuff introduced. We had a guy, was it last month, bring a fire hydrant, sort of portable fire hydrant out.
And the fire department is embracing,
They probably would.
yeah, so it's, but I wasn't sure, what path do we have? Yeah.
But I think if I anticipated what you were about to say was it's not a problem seeing this stuff, but.
We're not gonna endorse it.
Recommend it, or not, an A or an A, it's just not,
Yeah.
the position's not necessary.
But it's nice to know that's how you would start, and that's.
Yeah, let the people
Share.
that do this for a living assess it and validate it, and then we can say this is a valid system or no, it hasn't been tested.
Right.
Sorry, Michelle, we know you're there.
Oh, I know you know.
Michelle,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go a slightly different tack. You brought up about the importance of facilitation in the
Oh,
effect
yes.
of SOFAR, and kind of whether the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council could play a role in helping to support and maintain the facilitation, because SOFAR involves a lot of the fire safe councils and as a mechanism anyways for, addressing a lot of the same issues we're dealing with.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. One of the benefits of having a professional facilitator, right, is that everyone's weight or everyone's voice has equal weight in the room. And because we have, guidelines and guardrails around, how we like work as a group and how we collaborate to align on our goals, and how we drive the direction of those goals. Sophie, as a professional facilitator, has been instrumental in keeping the reins on what the conversation, where it heads and how it goes, and items that we have to pick back up and discuss more about at the following meeting. Overall, I think that being a professionally facilitated group, this is the only one that I know that is both open to all, but specifically geared towards the fire safe councils, the U.S. Forest Service, OWOPR, and all those entities, and is professionally facilitated via that contract that we have. So I would encourage and invite El Dorado County Fire Safe Council to consider that as another venue to engage across this platform, to allow for a professional facilitator to host some of these discussions around best practices, lessons learned, and really find that alignment, particularly for controversial actions, but also for non-controversial actions, as those come up more and more. Thank you for that question.
So Michelle, Paul Penn, one of the things that we're trying to get a handle on is there are a lot of organizations out there doing adjacent wildfire type work, and it's hard for us to get a handle on everyone. Cameron talking about the Wild Turkey Federation, submitted a grant proposal. Do you have a list of your collaborating agencies that you can share with us as we try to really move out and engage many of the other organizations and try to work with OOPR to have a more cohesive approach rather than, different organizations popping up and doing their thing. You have that available?
Well, so one of the things about, and I know which project you're talking about because it occurs on National Forest System lands,
And that's just
and
an
National,
example.
yeah.
These pop up all the time.
So like the US Forest Service, right? We don't really do a lot of our own implementation anymore. We do a lot of contracts, we do a lot of agreements to these nonprofit partners in a lot of cases, and sometimes the RCD, availability pending. And yes, I'm happy to give you a list of those who we have involved in the Healthy El Dorado Landscape Partnership, which I think is about 15, maybe 10 to 15 organizations, not all of them working on the National Forest System lands, but those are essentially the partners who the Forest Service, and particularly the El Dorado National Forest, has agreements with to conduct some of our implementation work up into the point of actually burning piles or burning understory, which is something that, entirely the US Forest Service handles in-house still. And so, there's a lot of organizations. I'm happy to introduce you or provide you a list of those folks.
That would be great. Thank you.
The website, at the bottom of the front page of the website has a list, at least of all the signatures within the SOFAR cohesive strategy.
Does it list the fire safe councils, associate
Mhm.
councils?
Yes.
Although Pollock Pines was one of the original, but Placerville was,
Yeah, and there
Thanks.
have been new fire safe councils since then too, as well.
I'm sorry. Are there any
Yeah, I
more
was just
questions
sorry.
for
No, thank
Michelle?
you.
Do you have anything else?
Good.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Michelle. I appreciate you
Thank
coming
you.
on today. And thank
Yep.
you all for coming. I want to make sure I got you all signed in, so I need the three of you to.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.